What is going on, everybody? This is Audible Sports Kids.
Well, Super Bowl just happened, and oh my gosh, what a good game.
It was a good game, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's maybe one of the best Super Bowls I've watched, but it's definitely up there. And so, we
We go ahead.
you gotta remember my, life of existing's not as long as yours maybe. So, I've seen a little less amount of Super Bowls.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna see a more dominating offensive performance than Cooper Kupp had. Probably not in your lifetime.
I mean, you got to remember some of those performances, like in some of the Raiders Super Bowls. When you look at what Edelman did, the last wide receiver to win Super Bowl MVP. But you also got to think, James White, the year they went the 28-3, Patriots Falcons game.
I mean, I think Cooper Kupp probably had a concussion on the play where Von Bell hit him.
That's possible, but
he was on the ground. He got helmet to helmet. But it was in the moment he probably did. But
that's true. And I mean, before we get any further, just congratulations to LA Rams winning Super Bowl MVP. Congratulations to Cooper Kupp. Just what a way to end, finish their season off. They went out, traded for Matt Stafford to get to this exact situation, and here they are winning it, and not only winning it, but winning it in their home stadium. That's another thing.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, and for anyone wondering, Arizona Cardinals host the Super Bowl next year, or at least the stadium they play in.
I'm not sure they have a quarterback anymore, so...
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that, in the coming weeks, I'm sure.
You just said Cardinals, so that's just happening.
There's some situations going on, so it'll be interesting to see if anything happens. So that's something we'll definitely keep an eye on. But let's just talk about the Super Bowl. There's a lot of things that happened between the game itself, the commercials. I know we talked a little bit about how they didn't seem to be any really funny ones. There's a couple I thought that were really good, just in general. Like there's the LeBron James one right after the halftime performance. I thought was really good.
The NFL one was good too.
Yeah, there's a couple
with the fake Madden characters. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, that was a good one, and I liked how they ended it with Walter Payton scoring a touchdown. Who infamously
didn't see that coming.
I didn't, but he's infamously known for not scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl when they instead gave it to Refrigerator William Perry instead. Right. So that was honestly kind of nice as a Bears fan to see, especially if anyone's watched his football life, and they go into a lot of detail about that moment and how he kind of felt after the Super Bowl. So it was nice to see that.
I mean, I was kind of disappointed in the Lord of the Rings trailer. Just in the fact is, I know I'm gonna watch it, but I guess it's probably got more CGI than I want to know.
I mean,
I can kind of see it.
Do you not remember what the older Lord of the Rings movies were like?
The CGI was better.
Better, or you just haven't seen it in a while? I think that's a rewatch you need to do. Have a Lord of the Rings marathon and then get back to me.
I don't know. Well, I only saw a clip, so we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
I've had many of those marathons, so...
But, I mean, it just... Yeah, there is, a couple good trailer commercials. I mean, a lot of things people kind of were expecting, but... There wasn't those, Doritos commercials that really showed out. There was that one, with the Cheetos and Doritos I thought was kind of weird. The one with all the animals, and it's like some of those animals don't live in the same ecosystem, so that was kind of weird too, but that's just, a little bit of weird. But that's...
I felt like the Frito-Lay commercial with Paul Rudd and Seth was too long.
Yeah, but at the same time...
It kind of went on and on and on and on and on and on. I could have ended 2/3 and been fine.
True, but I think that might have been the best one if you talk about the kind of comedic ones.
Yeah.
But let's not talk. That's enough commercials. I feel like. How'd you feel about the halftime performance before we really deep dive into this? The game itself.
I mean, it was good. I way better than last year's, but last year's set a very low bar for me. So.
I mean, I enjoyed last year's just because the music itself. That's It's
I
hard.
like The Weeknd. I just couldn't stand him in that performance.
It is difficult, and you got to think of like the COVID, situation, and everything. So there wasn't a lot that they could do, and he actually put up a lot of money to make that show what it was. So
I just
I
kind
don't
of
even.
I look at it as Super Bowl. Like Arya came down and watched halftime. Jesse watched halftime. They didn't watch the game at all. They watched the halftime show. So it needs to be more. That was not family friendly last year. It was weird.
Yeah.
And Kanye West-esque kind of weirdness that
That's
everyone's
fair.
just. Most people, I mean, I understood it, like in that after I read about it after, but most people don't understand it, think it's weird. This year, at least, it's everybody knows Snoop Dogg. Everybody knows, to an extent, Dr. Dre. If not, you just say Beats headphones and
Well, they know their songs. They might not. They might not know Dre himself.
Eminem, 50 Cent.
But,
I mean, Mary J. Blige and Kendrick are kind of on the not as famous as the rest, but
I mean, Kendrick is definitely someone a lot closer.
no,
to...
he is. So is Mary J. Blige. She's older, but you probably didn't hear her too much. But she does TV now and other things. I mean, it was good. I guess.
When you think of the Super Bowl halftime performance, it's hard because there's the concert kind of experience of it from the TV and the people
Did
there.
you download the app?
I did not. I saw that. That's pretty cool. If anyone noticed that you could
we
download.
did it at our house.
Yeah, for anyone.
Arya had my phone. That's my daughter, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it gave you kind of a very tiny bite of the metaverse, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because, for anyone who didn't know, there was a QR code wait. I honestly should have showed it again. I think they only showed it once, where you could download the Super Bowl. They call it the Super Bowl halftime app, where you could literally be there and have a 360 experience of the Super Bowl, which is definitely cool and could get you more into it because it's hard.
It's just the halftime show, though, not the game.
Yeah, technology's not there quite yet, but it's just it's another way to get fans more interacted and stuff because you think about it, this is just a concert and it's hard to get into a concert from home.
Well, I think part of it was it popped up on social media for me. I think it was a way for them to connect to people who aren't watching the game but just want to see what halftime show is.
True, and sticking their head into the metaverse as well.
Yeah.
Which, hey, that's coming. So
it's not like they made it like, they've used fake people, VR people.
Yeah, that's true. But
it was like watching The Sims. That's what I felt like.
I mean, I didn't get to do it, so I'll take your word for it. But it was a good experience. I mean, everyone knew most of the songs. It's a good time, chilling.
Oh yeah.
It was, no one does it like Dre. But I mean, let's talk about this game a little bit. I mean, think about this is something I kind of want to think about for a second. Look at all of the first-time Super Bowl winners that the Rams have that are kind of like long-time players. Do you look at Eric Weddle, who came back to play, pretty much for this playoff, and he finally got himself
pardon my language, everyone. He was useless, though.
I wouldn't say he's useless. He made a couple plays. I mean, they don't just give anyone the green dot for no reason. And that's the green dot. I mean, is the person who calls the plays on defense, and he gave him that position.
That's why they brought him back. Football IQ. I think
experience comes a long way at this point.
Yeah.
So for them to make him the signal caller, and then he not only makes, I mean, he doesn't make amazing plays, but he was there, he was starting, he made plays, and now he finally gets a ring.
I'm happy for Matt Stafford, but I think the sad part is the Rams are not going to be good, and Aaron Donald might retire. Von Miller's gone.
Yeah, but you think, there's also players that say they might take discounts to come back because the Rams do free up a lot of money. But just real quick before you get into some of these players who might be gone, let's talk about, and of course some of these people might retire, but you just mentioned Aaron Donald. This is his first Super Bowl ring. He's like one of the most, I would say, the most dominant defensive player in maybe this generation and of all time, if you want to argue that. That is true. Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle, one of the oldest players. He literally looks like he could be some of the players' fathers. It's his first time. This is his first time ring. It's amazing. You look at other players like Odell. This is his first ring he ever gets. Jalen Ramsey. We talked about Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. These amazing players who finally get their chance at a ring because this organization came in and was willing to win it with guys who maybe haven't been able to, but were good enough on their own to be kind of called out and be like, hey, let's finally win it.
Well, here's a question for you. I mean, I agree with all that. Do you think I think we might have watched the best NFC wide receiver versus the best AFC wide receiver, potentially, in this game.
I mean, yeah, that's something we even talked about a little bit before the game, how this... I mean, we might have seen the single greatest season of all time by a wide receiver with Cooper Kupp. When you look at his accolades, I mean...
If you look at Jamar Chase in this game, and he was going... I mean, he went against the number one of the best corners in the league.
Oh, yeah. Jalen Ramsey and the other guy.
He's not that fast. He's just smooth. He's very smooth and clean.
He's also one of those really athletic guys. I mean, you talk about a lot of good hands, and not only that, but he could probably be a starting running back in the league, arguably, the way he moves.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Bengals, and basicness got them where they were into Super Bowl, and it just killed them in that game.
I think it really, I talked about it in the pregame. It came down to that offensive line, just because of how good the secondary played. He just Burrow needed that.
Sat in that soft zone, and he refused to get off it, which got Cooper Kupp one-on-one a lot.
I mean, I would argue for the most part that Bengals defense played really good. They made plays when they needed to. It's just that the Bengals, when the
D-line is the star of that team, and it's a rotation.
Oh yeah, they got guys there that, kind of like the Rams. They got these guys that were playing really good in their own collective on different teams. They kind of came together and made this really good group of players that played really good. It kind of reminds me of the Eagles' defense when they won it, except maybe not as much star power when you think about what the Eagles team had with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. But they, it was a good rotational group of guys, and the heart and soul is in that defensive front. And yeah, they have a lot of good, secondary pieces when you think about Jesse Bates or Chidobe Awuzie, who did play, good before he got a little bit hurt there. But I mean, it just. It's amazing what that Bengals defense was able to do. It's
amazing that what the Bengals offense was able to do when Joe Burrow was just getting crushed.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of like why I went towards the Rams to win it, because the Rams defense, when you talk about Von Miller and Aaron Donald, and those two players didn't show up much in the first half, and why I was worried. But then that second half, they were all over it, and I mean Aaron Donald was the one who made the final play to win the game.
He made some plays that were pretty incredible in that game. I mean, that one where he stopped Akers from getting the first down, where he literally just manhandled the offensive line with the straight arm.
Yeah.
And then
not Akers, but...
Who was it then?
Well, Akers is the Rams running back. You're talking about Aaron Donald. Think about that for a second.
Yep.
But
Joe Mixon then.
Yes.
Names confused. Joe Mixon.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we all know Aaron Donald's literally a man against... boys, honestly, with him even playing in the NFL.
But, bringing him up again, I can see him retiring. Okay, I'm going to put some players who I don't think are... Aaron Donald's in a class of his own, but, you got
definitely.
the Luke Kuechly's, the Patrick Willis's, who... Patrick Willis was a physical specimen like Donald and retired early.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's honestly nothing more Aaron Donald needs to kind of...
No. He's got a ring.
Show
He's got money.
He's one of the most, when you talk about the defensive player of the years, he's, people, even before this season, people called him the greatest defensive player of all time.
Well, Von Miller's going to do what DeMarcus Ware, the old one, sorry.
Okay.
I think Von Miller's going to bounce around like he did now, make some money.
I mean, that's possible. I mean, I could see a situation where he does stay if Aaron Donald stays. There's a lot that's going to happen. I mean, Odell needs a new contract.
I heard they can't. They can't. Von Miller's going free agent. He wants to.
Okay, well, whatever team gets him, I mean, if they can make a really good rotation of guys, that'll be amazing for that team.
Yeah, because
whatever team he goes
doesn't play every down anymore, so
I mean,
not too much.
But even
they don't need him to.
That's true. Whenever he does play, though, he plays good.
Yeah, but you could also talk about the Rams' offensive line didn't play that great either.
No.
All right, well, I don't know. I just got this gut feeling about Cooper Kupp. I think he had a great performance and he had a great year.
Oh yeah.
I would say he's gonna have a career like Megatron, not meaning about winning, but the stats. He seems short. I just don't think he can sustain it to be. It's hard to get with Jerry Rice's and Terrell Owens and Randy Moss. They played a long time.
Oh yeah, the longevity is incredible, and even when you look at Larry Fitzgerald, he did it a long time, but I would argue his numbers aren't up there because he never had the QB play he kind of deserved his entire career.
Yeah, he barely had any good ones. But, yeah. I mean, my thing is, I think he's gonna be more of the Edelman, meaning he just has a few good years and that's about it.
Yeah,
He's
but
older,
even
too.
even Edelman never had a career half as good as that, and as Cooper Kupp just had, and people call him an MVP or not MVP, a Hall of Fame player.
You could say postseason. That kind of reminded me of him.
Yeah, that's true,
Bigger.
and Cooper Kupp has had some injury issues in the past, but we'll see. I mean,
It don't matter. They're
you
gonna pay
never,
him.
yeah, you
They're
never
going-
want a player to.
Well, what kind of contract is he on? I have to look that up.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he signed one
Oh, he did.
last
But
right before the 2020 season.
he'll get restructured in next year.
Oh, I'm sure
But
he'll be
I
paid
just
dividends
don't-
for his for this year.
I don't know. The Rams are one of those teams that I think if they lose those 2 pass rushers and
Whitworth
Whitworth.
retiring.
they don't have any picks, and even if those guys all leave, they don't have much money.
Well, they do clear a lot of money. Does get cleared up for kind of the contract
I think
situations,
Whitworth is like 11.
but also
something.
there was a lot of dead money with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley
That's true.
releases. Pretty much, I'll call them. But that money clears up, so they'll have a little bit of money. So like, yeah, everyone kind of knew their window was short, but potentially how this offseason plays, they might have another year to make some form of run. But then after that, they're almost kind of dead in the
Yeah.
water. So we'll see.
I mean, I was gonna say we'll talk about cuts we think teams need to make in future episodes.
Oh yeah, definitely. But we'll see. I mean, right now, I think that the point is not to think about next season. Right now, I just like what the Rams are doing. Just celebrate, let it soak in that they're the best team in the NFL, and move on to next year when the time comes. So it might be a little bit before we talk about the NFL. I think now with it being the halfway point in the NBA season, I think let's move let's tell the fans right now, let's move a little bit more to the NBA. There's lots of Bulls games happening. They're one of the top hot teams right now, so it might be a good time to start talking some basketball. I don't know about you, but it seems like a good idea. But before we get going, let's just a little recap of the NFL season now that our kind of final predictions and everything are done. Obviously, I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Brett, you picked the Bengals. So that means if we want to count this with the playoffs, I went 9-4. You went 5-8, or not 5-8, 4-9.
Yeah, I bombed it in the playoffs.
You bombed in the playoffs, but obviously, regular season we talked about, you had a lot better win percentage. You did pick a couple weeks less than me. That's beside the point. But hey, overall, we didn't do too bad. I mean, we pretty much picked. I mean, early before you were kind of a person in this, I predicted the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So, hey,
He just fell in that Matt Stafford love. I feel bad for him. I want him to win it.
I mean, it ended up coming out, so ended up working out. But
No, I know.
you got to give the credit where it's due.
Oh, he deserved it.
Oh,
Not gonna deny
definitely.
it.
I mean, obviously he did make a couple. There was those 2 interceptions this game, and you could tell, but just there was some lingering issues with health. The injuries that has happened.
Interceptions.
Oh yeah, he's always good. That's just how
That's
he
how he
plays.
plays.
He literally was, one of the most if not the most intercepted, quarterback
Look at
this
the
season.
one where he pointed to where Jesse Bates.
That was
a
50-50
That
ball
was-
pretty much.
That was a Stafford throw. That's
Yeah.
what Stafford does.
But I mean, there's also you could tell there's just some injury lingers that have been kind of trailing with him pretty much since week 17. But he played through it, and now he's a Super Bowl champion, and he can go celebrate. He goes from being in the most impoverished, I would argue, franchise in all of professional North American sports to Super Bowl champion. So congratulations to Matthew Stafford. Congratulations to the LA Rams. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of Cincinnati in these kind of situations. It's going to be fun in the entire AFC between the Chiefs with Mahomes, Josh Allen and the Bills, and Lamar Jackson with the Ravens question mark. There could be some change up in that. I doubt it, but it'd be interesting to see what happens. Mac Jones on the Patriots. there's lots and lots of young, talented quarterbacks that can lead their team, and we might be coming into a new situation, especially with Tom Brady retired, Aaron Rodgers, who knows what's going to happen with him. We might be in a situation where we're going to be seeing a lot more different teams in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I mean,
it'll be an interesting couple of years.
Interesting, yeah.
But with that, I think that's all we got for you. So, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give the feedback wherever you want. I hope everyone enjoyed the Super Bowl experience. Let us know how your experience was. And everyone just
see you later.
Have a good one.